lot of times when people build vertical menus, they actually build them in a bulleted list like this, because each bulleted item gets its own line, and there's no space in between them, and that's all nice. However, there are some issues that you have to deal with. For example, the bulleted lists have margins up above and below, and also there's this space over on the side here that's caused by padding. So what we're going to do is get in here and say, hey, take out the margins and the padding for any bulleted lists that show up in this area over here. If you look at the code that makes this, what I've got is I've got a div over here that I called nav div. That's the div that the nav is going to go in, and the only thing I bothered to say is that it's 150 pixels wide. Down here in the body, if you remember how to make a bulleted list, I've got an unordered list. That means a bulleted list. Here's a list item with a link in it. Here's another list item with a link in it. So first, let's get rid of that dot. The way you do it is you head up into the style section, and I'm going to redefine the LI, the list item, so that it doesn't have a dot. Now the thing is that I don't want to redefine the list items all over the page, because what if I want bulleted lists? So I only want to redefine list items that show up in the nav div, right? Okay, so I'm going to do one of those compound styles. So I'm going to say, hey, if it's in the nav div and it's a list item with the LI, then do this stuff to it. And the thing that I'm going to do to it here is I'm going to change its list style to none. List style is one of those things you can use to change it to like a diamond or a square or a Santa hat or something stupid like that. But most of the time when it's getting used, it's just setting it to none. When I save that and go check it out, I notice that the bullets disappear. But you also still see there's space here and there's space above and below. Although it's a little bit harder to see right now, it really is there. So we're going to get rid of that too. That's actually not part of the list items. Those are inherent features in the list itself. So instead of redefining the list item, we're going to redefine the list, the UL, the unordered list. So I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to say, hey, if it's in that nav div and it's in a list, curly brace, then we're going to take away the padding and margins. The margins, just so you know, do the space up on the top, and the padding does the space on the side. So I'm going to say margin is 0 pixels and padding is also 0 pixels. So I'm going to save it, go check it out, and refresh it. Now it looks kind of normal, right? So really what that's doing is it's allowing you to build a list that goes vertically and do some fancy stuff that we're going to do with it in a little bit. Get in there and make yourself a little div. Build a little list with links in it. Do that now. Go ahead and build a little list with links in it.